Sekala somlomo malunga bekekileyo, fellow South Africans, ndiyanibulisa ngale njikalanga molweni. Mr. President, there's a glaring omission to your sona on Thursday evening. An omission which underpins our epidemic of unemployment. An omission which is key to the future success of our country. An omission which signals that this government does not see it for the crisis that it is. And that omission is the state of our education system. Mr. President, a country that does not adequately invest in its youth through quality education confines generations to a lifetime of poverty and unemployment. Terrible damage has been inflicted on our children's education through the disruptions in the past 2 years. Children in rural township schools have lost between 50 and 75% of their learning and teaching time. Rotational schooling mostly affected the most porous and most vulnerable of schools. Despite the Ministerial Advisory Committee in July last year already saying abandon rotational schooling, it took the DA's urgent application to court for you to finally end rotational schooling. What is more concerning is that a grade 3 learner in June this year will only know what a grade 2 learner knew in 2019. This is terrifying because before the state of disaster, only 1 in 5 of our grade 4 children could read for meaning. And yet, little urgency or any mention of education. Even to date, the Eastern Cape has not delivered textbooks to schools, yet they expect learners to catch up. Ominously, the 2021 medium-term expenditure framework contains no budget allocation for the systematic catch-up plan. Therefore, the DA wants you to prioritize the curriculum catch-up plan. At a minimum, this should include an additional budget for the prioritization of reading, writing, language. Consult with stakeholders on the potential of extending the school day when needed, beneficial and practical, considering learner transport and school nutrition. Provide a funded extra lessons curriculum for them to cover the curriculum gaps through absorbing graduates and retired teachers. A catch-up plan is crucial, Mr. President, because it is the only way to produce the skills you desperately talk about. However, we must ensure that we don't leave learners behind, especially dropouts. Mr. President, we have 3.3 million not in employment, education, or training. And with those 3.3 million not in education, employment, or skills training, the Free State Department always gets matric results of over 86%. However, there's 43% of learners leaving the schooling system, which gives an illusion that there's a high pass rate. Dropouts mean that learners then end up joining the 7 in every 10 young people that are unemployed. This is why we need a learner tracking, tracing, and retention mechanism working alongside the Department of Social Development. Mr. President, dropouts are closely related to poor quality teaching. One of the key things in producing quality results is quality teaching that plays a significant role in the success of our learners. Many teachers, in fact, cannot pass the very same tests that they set in the subjects that they teach. I went to Fairvale Technical High School where learners are forced to change their technical stream in matric because there were no teachers between grade 10 and grade 11. That is why you need to fill the over 24,000 vacancies in education to get out quality education for our learners. Furthermore, we need to raise the required teacher competencies to further monitor quality teaching. In the DA-led Western Cape, we have established an independent school evaluation authority to measure and support quality teaching so that learners get the best and they can produce the best. On Thursday, Mr. President, you further promised to build additional schools. However, poor quality infrastructure in schools remain a reality. How are you going to build more schools when there's still over 2,000 pit toilets that you promised to remove in 2020 already? Furthermore, schools' infrastructures have not escaped the corruption and mismanagement by implementing agents and your very own cadres. For example, Collingwood Primary that I visited in KwaZulu-Natal has a construction site that has been there for 5 years despite a tender being awarded and the money being paid out. Last week, a matric learner in Gelixdal Secondary School in Ekurhuleni died being electrocuted by a dilapidated school building. Over 7,200 schools still don't have adequate infrastructure in schools. And more so than anything, there are targets for syndicates and vandalism. And the Minister comes and stands up here, but he does not even respond to the cases in schools, but it was all fun and games when he was chasing people at the beach. How do we know that the special vague purpose vehicle you mentioned to deliver school infrastructure will actually happen? Well, beyond this, there are still more challenges that are experienced in the education system. There is a bill that is going to come to this House that seeks to further cripple the education system. The proposal in the bill will remove the powers of school governing bodies in deciding their admission and language policies. By robbing governing bodies of these powers, the Department of Education plans to centralize control over public schools, not in the hands of communities and parents that know what's best for their children, but in ANC cadres like Panyaza Lesufi, who's got a vendetta against home languages. This move is a direct attack on SGBs and mother tongue education. The DA will do everything in its power to stop this bill that is continuously fighting home languages. Mr. President,
a minute.
A country...
Honorable Nodada, you have a minute.
I can see that. Mr. President, a country that does not develop its youth has no future. When replying on Wednesday, please, as a matter of urgency, provide a budget for the catch-up plan. Secondly, ensure that Minister Mochecha, Minister Zulu, and Minister Nzimande, if they're still there, obviously, to come up with a plan to track, trace, and retain learners. Hold accountable those that are implicated in corruption and mismanagement, and investigate the non-delivery by implementing agents to ensure that we eradicate pit toilets, not in 2030, this year, Mr. President. Mongameli, in order for you to fight poverty, inequality, and not lead young people down a rabbit hole of unemployment, quality education must be at the center of your government's reforms. Remember that many young people, being poor, have only their dreams. They have spread their dreams beneath your feet. Tread carefully, because you tread on their dreams by ignoring this crisis. I thank you.